Chapter 7, the book of Ezra. After these things, during the reign of King Artaxerxes of Persia, Ezra, the son of Seraiah, son of Azariah, son of Hilkiah, son of Shallum, son of Zadok, son of Ahitub, son of Ahitub, son of Amariah, son of Azariah, son of Maraioth, son of Zerahiah, son of Utzi, son of Buki, son of Abishua, son of Phinehas, son of Eleazar, probably, son of Aaron, the chief priest. This Ezra went up from Babylonia. He was a scribe, skilled in the law of Moses, which Yahweh, the God of Israel, gave. The king granted him all his requests, for the hand of Yahweh was upon him. Some of the Israelites, some priests and Levites, the singers, the gatekeepers, and the temple servants, went up to Jerusalem in the 7th year of King Artaxerxes. He came to Jerusalem in the 5th month, which was in the 7th year of the king. For on the 1st day of the 1st month he began the journey from Babylonia, and on the 1st day of the 5th month he came to Jerusalem, for the good hand of his God was on him. For Ezra had set his heart to seek the law of Yahweh, to do it, and to teach the regulations and judgments in Israel. This is the copy of the letter that King Artaxerxes gave to Ezra the priest, the scribe of the scroll of the words of the commands of Yahweh and his statutes for Israel. Artaxerxes, the king of kings, to Ezra the priest, the scribe of the law of God of the God of the heavens, peace. And now I issue forth a decree that any of the people of Israel, their priests or their Levites in my kingdom, who are willing to go to Jerusalem, may go with you. For you are sent from the king and his 7 counselors to inquire about Judah and Jerusalem concerning the law of your God, which is in your hand. Also bring the silver and gold that the king and his advisers have freely offered to the God of Israel, whose dwelling is in Jerusalem, and all of the silver and gold that you will find in the whole province of Babylonia, with the freewill offerings of the people and the priests giving willingly for the house of their God. And all of the silver and gold that you will find in the whole province of Babylonia, with the freewill offerings of the people and the priests giving willingly for the house of their God in Jerusalem. With this money, then, with diligence, you must buy young bulls, young rams, lambs, and their offerings and libations. You may offer them on the altar that is in the house of your God in Jerusalem. You may do whatever seems best to you and your brothers to do with the remainder of the silver and gold, according to the desire of your God. And the vessels that were given to you for the service of the house of your God you shall deliver before the God of Jerusalem. And the remainder of the needs for the house of your God that falls to you to provide, you may provide from the house of the king's treasury. I, even I, King Artaxerxes, issue forth a decree to all the treasurers who are in the province beyond the river. Whatever the priest Ezra, the scribe of the law of the God of heaven, may ask of you, let it be done with diligence, up to 100 talents of silver, 100 measures of wheat, 100 baths of wine, 100 baths of oil, and unlimited salt. All that is commanded by the God of heaven, let it be done with diligence for the house of the God of heaven. Otherwise wrath will come on the kingdom of the king and his sons. You also should be aware that it is not permitted to place tax, tribute, or duty upon all of the priests, the Levites, the singers, the doorkeepers, the temple servants, and the other servants of the house of God. You, Ezra, according to the wisdom of your God that you possess, appoint magistrates and judges who can judge all the people in the province beyond the river, who know the laws of your God. They will teach those who do not know. All who do not obey the law of your God and the law of the king, let judgment be executed on him with diligence, whether for death, or for banishment, or for confiscation of goods, and for imprisonment. Blessed be Yahweh, the God of our ancestors, who put this in the heart of the king to glorify the house of Yahweh in Jerusalem, and who extended to me loyal love before the king and his counselors, and before all of the mighty officials of the king. I took courage, for the hand of Yahweh my God was upon me, and I gathered leaders from Israel to go up with me. Chapter 8. These were the heads of the families and the register of those returnees from Babylon who came up with me in the reign of King Artaxerxes. From the descendants of Phinehas, Gershom. From the descendants of Ithamar, Daniel. From the descendants of David, Hattush. From the descendants of Shechaniah. From the descendants of Parosh, Zechariah, and with him 150 registered males. From the descendants of Pahath Moab, Eliahuenai, the son of Zerahiah, and with him 200 males. From the descendants of Zatu, Shechaniah, the son of Jahaziel, and with him 300 males. From the descendants of Adin, Ebed, son of Jehonathan, and with him 50 males. From the descendants of Elam, Jeshiah, the son of Athaliah, and with him 70 males. From the descendants of Shephatiah, Zebediah, the son of Mikael, and with him 80 males. From the descendants of Joab, Obadiah, the son of Jehiel, and with him 218 males. From the descendants of Bani, Shalomith, the son of Josephiah, and with him 180 males. From the descendants of Bebai, Zechariah, son of Bebai, and with him 28 males. From the descendants of Azgad, Jehohanan, the son of Hakatan, and with him 110 males. From the descendants of Adonikam, those who came last, these were their names: Eliphalet, Jael, Shemaiah, and with them 60 males. From the descendants of Bigvai, Uthai, son of Zabud, and with him 70 males. I gathered them by the river that goes to Ahava, and we camped there for 3 days. And I looked at the people and the priests. I found no one there from the sons of Levi. And I sent for Eleazar, Ariel, Shemaiah, Elnathan, Jarib, Elnathan, Nathan, Zechariah, and Meshullam, who were family heads, and for Jehoiarib and Elnathan, who were wise. I sent them to Iddo, the head of the place called Casiphia, and I placed in their mouths what words to say to Iddo and his brothers, the temple servants in Casiphia, to send to us ministers for the house of our God. With the good hand of our God before us, they brought us a man of understanding from the sons of Mahli, son of Levi. Man, none of these we don't pronounce things any bit like actual Hebrew pronunciation, like nothing. Son of Israel, Sherebiah and his sons and brothers, 18 in total. Also Hashabiah, and with him Jeshiah, the sons of Merari, with his brothers and their sons, 20 in total. And from the temple servants whom David and his officials had set up to serve the Levites, 220 in total. All of them were registered by name. I proclaimed a fast there at the river Ahava, to humble ourselves before our God in order to seek from him a safe journey for us, our children, and our possessions. For I was ashamed to ask the king for troops and horses to protect us from enemies on the way, because we had said to the king, "The hand of our God is favorable to all who seek him, but his strength and honor are against all who forsake him." So we fasted and sought our God for this, and he responded to our prayer. I set apart 12 of the official priests, Sherebiah, Hashabiah, and 10 of their brothers with them. Then I weighed out to them silver and gold in the vessels, the offering of the house of our God that the king, his counselors, his commanders, and all of Israel who were present offered. I weighed out into their hand 650 talents of silver, 100 vessels of silver, 100 talents of gold, 20 gold bowls worth 1,000 derricks, and 2 vessels of good polished bronze, as precious as gold. And I said to them, "You are holy to Yahweh, and the vessels are holy. The silver and gold are a freewill offering to Yahweh, God of our ancestors. Guard and look after them until you weigh them before the chief priests, the Levites, and the heads of the families of Israel in Jerusalem, in the chamber of the house of Yahweh." So the priests and the Levites took over the weighed silver, gold, and the vessels to bring to Jerusalem for the house of our God. On the 12th day of the first month, we set out from the river of Ahava to go to Jerusalem. The hand of our God was on us, and he delivered us from the hand of the enemy and from ambushing on the way. We came to Jerusalem and remained there 3 days. On the 4th day, the silver, gold, and vessels were weighed in the house of our God into the hand of priest Meremoth, the sons of Uriah, and with him Eleazar, the son of Phinehas. With them were the Levites, Jehozabad, the son of Jeshua, and Noadiah, the son of Binnui. The amount and weight of all the weighed items was recorded at that time. The exiles that returned from captivity offered burnt offerings to the God of Israel: 12 bulls for all Israel, 96 rams, 77 lambs, and 12 goats as a sin offering. All was a burnt offering to Yahweh. They delivered the customs of the king to the king's satraps and to the governor of the province beyond the river, and they supported the people of the house of God. Chapter 9. After finishing these things, the officials approached me, saying, The people of Israel, the priests and the Levites, have not separated from the people of the lands with their detestable things, and from the Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Jebusites, Ammonites, Moabites, Egyptians, and Amorites. For they have taken from their daughters for themselves and their sons. So the holy seed has mixed itself with the people of the lands, and the hands of the officials and prefects were foremost in this sin. When I heard this, I tore my garments and my robe, and I pulled the hair out from my head and beard, and I sat appalled. Then all who trembled at the words of the God of Israel, because of the sin of the returned exiles, were gathered around me, and I sat appalled until the evening offering. At the evening offering, I got up from my mourning posture, and with my garment and robe torn, I fell down on my knees, and I spread out my palms to Yahweh my God, and said, "My God, I am ashamed and embarrassed to lift my face to you, my God. For our sins have risen above our heads, and our guilt has grown up to the heavens. From the days of our ancestors until this day, we have been in great guilt, and because of our sins, we ourselves, our kings and our priests, have been handed into the hand of the kings of the lands, to the sword, to captivity, to plunder, and to utter shame, as it is this day. But now, for a brief moment, mercy has been shown by Yahweh our God, who left behind for us a remnant and given us security in his holy place, for our God to brighten our eyes and to give us brief relief from our bondage. For we are slaves, and in our bondage our God did not forsake us, and he has extended to us loyal love in the presence of the kings of Persia, to give us deliverance and to set up the house of God, to repair its ruins, and to give us a wall in Judea and Jerusalem. And now, our God, what shall we say after this? For we have forsaken your commandments, which you commanded by the hand of your servants the prophets, saying, the land that you are entering to possess is a land of impurity, with the impurity of the peoples of the lands, with their detestable things that they have filled from end to end with their uncleanness. Therefore do not give your daughters to their sons, do not take their daughters for your sons, do not seek their peace and prosperity, so that forever you may be strong and eat the good of the land, and may give it as an inheritance to your sons. After all that has come upon us for our evil and practices and for our great guilt, you, our God, have held back less than our guilt deserved, and you have given us a remainder such as this. Shall we again break your commandments and intermarry with the peoples who practice these detestable things? Would you not be angry with us until you destroy us with no remnant or remainder? Yahweh, God of Israel, you are righteous, for we have been left this day as a remnant. Here we are before you in our guilt, for none can stand before you because of this. Chapter 10. While Ezra was praying and confessing, weeping and throwing himself down before the house of God, a very great assembly of men, women, and children from Israel gathered to him, and the people wept bitterly. Shechaniah, son of Jehiel, of the sons of Elam, answered and said to Ezra, "We ourselves have broken faith with our God and have married foreign women from the peoples of the land, and even now there is hope for Israel in spite of this. So now let us make a covenant with our God to send away all of these women and their offspring, according to the advice of my Lord and those who tremble at the commandment of our God. Let it be done according to the law. Arise, for it is your task, and we are with you. Be strong and do it." Then Ezra stood up and made the chief priests, Levites, and all of Israel swear to do according to what they had said. So they swore this oath. Ezra rose from before the house of God and went to the chamber of Jehohanan, son of Eliashib. He did not eat food nor drink water because he was mourning over the sin of the exiles. And they sent a proclamation throughout Judah and Jerusalem to all the returned exiles to assemble in Jerusalem. Anyone who did not come within 3 days, by decision of the officials and elders, all of his possessions would be devoted to God, and he himself would be excluded from the assembly of exiles. Then all the men of Judah and Benjamin assembled in Jerusalem within the 3 days. It was the 9th month, on the 20th day of the month. All of the people sat in the public square of the house of God, trembling because of this matter and from the rains. Then Ezra the priest stood up and said to them, "You have broken faith and married foreign women, increasing the guilt of Israel. Now make a confession to Yahweh, the God of your ancestors, and do his will. Separate yourselves from the peoples of the land and from the foreign women." Then all the assembly answered with a great voice and said, "It is so. We must do according to your words. But the people are many, and it is the time of rain. We are unable to stand outside. The task is not for 1 day or 2, for we greatly rebelled in this matter. Please let our leaders stand for the whole assembly, and let all that are in our cities who have married foreign women come at set times, and with them the elders of and judges of each city, until the fierce wrath of our God because of this matter is averted from us." Only Jehonathan, the son of Asahel, and Jaziah, son of Tikvah, stood against this, and the Levites Meshullam and Shabbathai supported them. The returned exiles did so. Ezra the priest selected men, the heads of the families according to the house of their fathers, all of them by name. They sat down to examine the matter on the first day of the 10th month. They finished investigating all the men who married foreign women by the first day of the first month. There was found from the sons of the priests those who had married foreign women, from the sons of Jeshua, son of Jehozadak, and his brothers, Maaseiah, Eleazar, Jarib, and Gedaliah. They pledged themselves to put away their wives, and their guilt offering was a ram of the flock for their guilt. From the sons of Immer, Hanani, and Zebediah. From the sons of Harim, Maaseiah, Elijah, Shemaiah, Jehiel, and Uzziah. From the sons of Pashur, Elioenai, Maaseiah, Ishmael, Nathanael, Jozabad, and Eliasa. From the Levites, Jozabad, Shimei, Kaliah, that is, Kalita, Pethahiah, Judah, and Eleazar. From the singers, Eliashib. From the gatekeepers, Shalom, Telem, and Uri. And from Israel, the sons of Parosh, Ramiah, Isaiah, Malchiah, Miyamin, Eleazar, etc. From the skip a bunch. From the sons of Nebo, Jael, Mattithiah, Zabad, Zabina, Iddo, Joel, and Benaiah. All of these had married foreign wives, and some from among the wives bore children. And that's how the book ends. Once again, sounds very historical, because it's very unartistic to end a book like that, that's for sure. And it's such a downer, but also makes it sound very much like somebody just opened up a little window in time and gave you some scribe notes from what happened. Very interesting. It makes the book very interesting, and a very interesting companion to Nehemiah. It's interesting with this translation, the LEB. Back in the first edition of the HCSB, I loved the fact that they used the name Yahweh, or Yahweh. But, I don't know, reading this out loud, it's kind of a bit disorienting reading, for example, in verse 1. Very disorienting in verse 1, trying to read the word of Yahweh by the mouth of Jeremiah. Like, oh, no, I can't do that. That's wrong. It's either Yahweh by the mouth of Jeremiah or something like that. I'm not sure if it'd be Jeremiah or Jeremiah or what, but it's not Jeremiah. It's not that. It would either be Yahweh by the mouth of Jeremiah or Yahweh by the mouth of Jeremiah. But J is not right. It is wrong. It is terribly wrong. So it's a little difficult for me to read this translation. But, I mean, it makes a heck of a lot more sense than saying to accomplish the word of the Lord when this is the proper name of the God of Israel. So when, for example, Cyrus says Yahweh, the God of the heavens, he's saying the name, the God of the sky, you know, which makes a whole lot of sense within this context of this multi-God culture. And he's addressing this little mini kingdom and their God, you know, kind of like you'd say Baal, the God of the storms, you know, and he's saying Yahweh, the God of the skies. And then other times he'll say, you know, the God of Israel or the God of Jerusalem or whatever, the God of Jerusalem, which is a little closer to how it would actually go. Oh man, it's interesting. And then you go through all these lists of names, and then you come to a name like David. 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 And like, oops, I think I probably should say David. Just because that's what we all call him. Even though he wasn't called David until relatively recently. Same thing with somebody like Jesus. And if you don't like the name Jesus, people think you're being sacrilegious, but he wasn't called Jesus until, what, like the 1700s? 1800s? Yeah, it's very recent. Very, very recent. But that's sacrilege. Anyway, I'm going to quit rambling and say goodbye, and I'm probably just going to, next thing I'm going to do on my playlist here is just going to do it again. You know, a book like that, it's so integral, like it's one piece. So I love taking some of those and reading them in one sitting, but you don't really get it in one sitting. You know, when they would read this kind of thing, you know, culturally speaking, they wouldn't do it once. They would, a lot of the time, do these things regularly, because every time you read it, you hear different bits. It's kind of like rewatching a movie. You know, you see it the first time. If it's a good movie, you see it the first time, and the next time around, you're paying attention to the other character, or you're paying attention to, you know, these other things that are going on, or you're paying attention maybe to the themes instead of to the main plot, or you're, you know, whatever, you're paying attention to the psychological back layers, you know, stuff like that. So with a book like this, reading through it once, you're kind of just trying to stay on top of it. Transition override. I just got a notification from my the app I'm using. As long as it's not saying that my recording is stopping. It's still a new app for me that I'm using. But anyway, yeah, so reading a book like this, you know, like 5 times, 10 times, can be very enlightening. And then, of course, you don't have to read the whole genealogy every time. But every time you read it, you're kind of getting a little closer to being able to understand it with the whole flow, and also be aware of the various little bits. And there's some parts that, you know, really, you could read a lot more slowly. You know, it's like the part with all the genealogies and the part with all the back and forth letters going back and forth. That's the kind of thing you would probably read a little faster. But once you got to, you know, when Ezra arrives in chapter 7, like this is something that I would, you know, read a lot more slowly. So if you're just going through it quickly, you know, it's going to take multiple times for you to really kind of get all the little interesting bits of how they express this very interesting part of the story of this mysterious figure called Ezra, this mysterious figure called a scribe, you know, in this interesting window of time when Israel has basically like dissolved practically, you know, and then this thing appears, this person called Ezra. Like, who and what is this character? And it sounds kind of like this is just some guy who had some family background and some various reasons that he was just really into the laws. And plus he had the heritage, like he was actually the proper, what would be the Levite or whatever. But the way they describe it is kind of like this guy in this culture where they had all been uprooted and they were all learning to assimilate into Babylonia. And here's this guy who was like a Yahweh nerd. Like literally, he was a Torah nerd, and they got him. You know, they found him and they brought him over. Of course, he wasn't just the nerd. He was also the what's the word that we would use for somebody who's you know, one of the privileged few who has the you know, genetic background. So he's that too. But anyway, it's just interesting. This is an interesting, fascinating, weird little book. See you next time.